Hi, this is Billy Ren. What I'm about to present is automated functional testing for terminal emulators. Now let's start by opening our functional testing tool. Let's go to the left, ADM products. Let's choose Microsoft Unified Functional Testing Tool. Double click. Now as you can see, if I move this to the right, we're going to be using version 14.53 of this demo. Now, this is the objects or add-ins which are actually supported by our functional testing tool. So there's wide variety of test objects that can be used. And at this demo, we're going to be using terminal emulators. So, so how it works is we actually take the object that we're going to be testing. Press OK. Now that UFT has been loaded, let's create a new test. File, new test. So as you can see, there's multiple test types which actually supported. It can be a GUI, an API, so it can be a BPT or a BPF. And now, since we're gonna be testing the GUI of an emulator, of a terminal emulator, so we're gonna be using GUI test. Now let's rename it properly. So terminal, I would say emulator. Let me spell that. Underscore test. Let's press create. Now, as you can see to the left, our solution is actually created, and we have our test right below it. So what it can do, we can actually create multiple tests by adding a new test. So we can actually run tests sequentially or tests in parallel according to our desired approach. So right now, let's go to the folder. Let's open the terminal emulator, which is a reflection flight 3270 and the reflection flight demo application. So if we actually minimize, mine is actually already open. So let me just show you. So that's the 3270 server, and this is the demo application. Now let's actually see if our functional testing tool actually can actually find our terminal emulator. Let's verify that. So let's go to Tools, Options, GUI Testing, and Terminal Emulator, and let's validate. Brilliant. So everything looks good. Let's press OK. Now let's start our recording. It looks good. Brilliant. Let's press OK. Now, as you can see, on the right is our recorder of our functional testing. Now let's click to the user ID. Type Mercury, it's tab. As you can see to the top, a number is actually incrementing as we actually move our cursor along. And now let's press enter. As you can see, it actually recorded 5 steps already of our terminal. So it says type CICSV. Let's type that. So CICSV. So it identifies each object along the way for terminal emulators. So what it actually says is it identifies each object and create the scripts for us without programming knowledge. So I'm going to show you that later. So at least it's asking us to choose. First, it's to create a new reservation, either update, delete an existing reservation, or view an existing reservation. Right now, we're going to do a view. Press 4. Press enter. Now, it says on the bottom, to find an order, press PF4 in the order number field. So let's click to the order number field just to be sure we're there. Now let's press F4. Brilliant. So now the option of to press enter. X is equal to select. So right now, I think Antonio Di Capo has a brilliant name, so I'm gonna use him. I'm gonna click X, press Enter. Now, it successfully loads the flight of Antonio Di Capo. So he has a departure date, airline, depart time, arrival time. So he has complete flight details. Now, as from the login up to the selection, we already have 23 steps, which is actually automatically recorded. Now, if we do an F3 to exit and 99 to sign up, brilliant. So now we have completed a successful login test. We have completed a, successful search and view of a terminal emulator. So imagine the power of recording manual tests of a terminal emulator. So we may have thousands of features of our application, and we've been doing this manually. And what I'm about to show you now after this is to be able to run the recorded script automatically. So let's stop the recording. And this is all the scripts which has been generated from our recording. So let's press run. This looks good. So let's run. So it actually repeats what we have actually entered earlier. Brilliant. Now it signs out as we actually did it. Now, uh, after running a successful functional test, an automated functional test, our functional testing tool actually creates a report. It generates a report according um, to the steps that we actually done, and aside from that, it shows the amount of steps which has passed, which is 33. It also shows if any failure or warning has happened, and the test data is the execution time. It records the operating system the application is test against, the CPU, the number of cores, the total memory. So we can actually have different test scenarios and find if the test is going to pass or fail. Now, if we scroll further down, if we're gonna click to the test iteration row 1, and below it on the green button, green tick, I mean. So there's actually a screenshot which has been recorded on every step. So it actually shows evidence that the test has actually passed. So we can actually pass this report to our manager, or if there's any bugs or failure, we can actually return this screenshot and evidence that the the test has actually passed or failed. Now, if we further scroll down, you can actually see the step on the left, the screenshot on the right, and if we go further down, it gives us more information about the step that we actually done. Now, if you're gonna watch my video series, the capability of these functional testing is not limited to what I've shown. So it can also do like data-driven tests, an end-to-end full SDLC cycle for terminal emulators, and a complete automated scheduling. So we can actually schedule a test. For example, the test will run overnight, or do a remote execution, or a defect management. So every time a failed test on our terminal emulator, it creates a an automatic defect and a report on the dashboards. I encourage you to watch my video series to be able to discover the power of this functional testing tool. imagine there's thousands of tests being done for a terminal application, and instead of having doing it the longevity, probably months and months of manual testing, can be actually done in a few hours. Imagine the time saved and the speed of the delivery and the increasing quality of our application. Well, this is all for now. This is Billy Ren. I hope you enjoyed watching my video series.